At first, when you start playing Honkai, this is just like any other action RPG game out there, but it wasn't the same when I got into it. Back then, there wasn't much to do in Honkai other than just a new story that they added from time to time, which I couldn't even understand because it was in Chinese. An Indian dude somehow stumbled upon a random web page that was the official web page to Honkai. This story is for another time, but all I could say at that point, the only thing that was in my mind, I exactly remember it, that this is fate. This is exactly what I wanted from a video game, even though there weren't many characters. The gameplay was the only driving factor that let me have fun in a Honkai. And ever since it came out, now fast forwarding to the C version, when it came out, I never really expected this game to become this huge masterpiece that it has become. I never expected to it to come this far. Introduced me to the world's wholesome community that ever existed, enjoying ourselves to a point where persons looking from outside might think that we are crazy simps, that we actually are. This is a truly special community and I love it. I adore it. Because all we want is to share this community with every possible human on this planet. And it doesn't matter you guys hate the Honkai game, you love it, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, all we want is people try Honkai. That's it. So, if you haven't played Honkai yet, I'm not sure what you're waiting for and why you're on this video. Consider it a fate as well. Just try it. Give it a shot. If you hate it, just delete it. But if you enjoy it, this is going to be one special ride, my friend. You don't want to get spoiled on Honkai story. So consider this your spoiler alert. Reach this chapter, or at least play till this chapter, then watch this video. Okay? And let me know. Just let me know in future if people found Honkai because of me. I'll be delighted to know. And of course, I cannot record anymore because there were fireworks outside. And also, guys, there's a new intro for the new year. Consider this my commitment to this channel now. Take care. Hello friends, in this video I'm going to discuss one of the biggest mind-bending theories I've been creating for a very long time. And when I say a very long time, since the Himeko disappeared since then. And I didn't talk about these theories back then because people were emotionally upset, and you cannot have a rational conversation with people that are emotionally upset. So I waited and waited. Now I think is the perfect time for me to start talking about these theories again. So the number one theory I want to talk about is how Himeko is still alive. The second theory I want to talk about is how Otto is actually a good guy. The third theory I want to talk about, there are multiple timelines and the one we are following right now is doomed. So the first one is how Himeko is still alive. You guys have seen the cutscene where she falls, right? And the narrator says something along the lines with, and we could not find the god suit and Himeko. When someone says you cannot find someone, that means they searched for that someone, right? So they definitely went there. They searched for Himeko and she disappeared. And let's say even if she disappeared, there's no way the suit disappears with her as well. It's not like she disappeared into thin air. Someone actually got to her. And the number one suspect for that to be is Otto. Obviously, the number one person that I believe who have Himeko is either someone on Otto's side or Otto himself. These are the theories I will explain later on in much more detail. So, when someone says it disappeared in a story, from a writer's perspective, that is your greatest weapon. Because you never identified what happened to that character exactly. Just because you said it disappeared means a lot of things. It could mean, yeah, the character died, but it can also mean 20 other things. So basically, writer has this overwhelming power to bring back character the way they want and also create a story based on how they come back at a given point of time. And I believe this is exactly what's happening right now. Otto is going to bring Himeko back, but not as a hero, but a major villain for the plot. Do you guys remember the chronological side stories we got to play below the stories, main story? There is this backstory about Himeko fighting great sports spirit taking over her. I think this is exactly what's going to happen, but on a much larger scale. I think that story was a foreshadow for what is about to come in Honkai. And I believe this time we're going to get Himiko corrupted with, let's say, harsher powers, and this time we might be able to save her with Kiana's help. And I have a question for you guys, and you guys decipher it. I will leave out the hints for you. Harsher of Flame Scion or Harsher of Flame Secon, however you pronounce it, why did they choose to call her that? Because I googled the word. It tells you something along the lines. It's a disciple, not the actual person, but a disciple of that person. So Harsher of Flame Scion translates to Harsher of Flames disciple, not the actual Harsher of Flames, but the disciple of Harsher of the Flames. That to me sticks out because every single walkthrough we know, Harsher of Binding, the names we have already known about, Harsher of Sentience, Harsher of Domination, Harsher of Reason, whatever. Every single walkthrough had a direct correlation with the name. Then why Kiana has a different name? Is this a tribute to their master? No, I think not. This is a way of mihoyo to tell us that the real Harsher of Flame is someone else. And who can it be? Obviously the master is the real Harsher of the Flames, because Otto tried to create a Harsher of Fire with the help of Gem of Haste inside of battle suit, the god suit. So yeah, that's just another question for you guys to answer. But if you want my personal belief on this, I think yeah, it's all kind of obvious that the real Harsher of Flames is someone else than Kiana. It might not be Himiko, but Himiko is coming back, and I believe it will be more hype for us to she becoming an actual Harsher, if not Harsher of Flames, but as Harsher of Binding. And what if Otto actually succeeded in creating an artificial Harsher? The progress he was doing with the God's Bane suit, what if after the battle with HOV we saw Himiko falling? What if a Harsher of Flame actually resurrected inside of Himiko and she's just doing her own thing? That can be a possibility too. That's why probably Otto didn't get her hands on Himiko. That's another theory. So yeah, these are all my reasoning why I believe Himiko is coming back. And also, just a final nail in the coffin, mihoyo is a very big company now, right? They have created multiple anime shots, barbecue with Valkyries, the Elf High School meme anime thing. They create such beautiful trailers for every single Valkyrie that gets added every single month. But they don't have the capacity to add a single frame that tells us that yeah, Himiko died. Come on, man. Come on, man. This just doesn't make any sense. If they wanted to show us or confirm to us that Himiko really died, they would have just said so in the first place. And this is not a company that shies away from death. If people are thinking, oh, it's too gruesome to show some dead bodies. Have you guys even played the SA event? It's running right now. I mean the final chapter is not out yet, but let me spoil it. Because we have already played it, right? If you haven't played it, I already said spoiler alerts. At the end of SA's event, SA dies. SA dies in Captain's hand. If they can show something like that, why can't they show a single picture for 2 seconds that says Himiko is dead? I will not buy it unless they show it. Till then, I will always believe Himiko is coming back. Let's talk about the second theory that I want to talk about. It's how I believe Otto is actually the good guy. Everything that Otto has done leads to believe that he might be the craziest simp lord of simp that ever existed in this world. I can agree with that, but the story is constructed very carefully in a manner that focuses on solely just hitting on this single character instead of us looking all different things, all different hints left behind by the writer of the story. And I find it genuinely terrifyingly amazing. How can someone make you feel so much hatred around a single character and also leave such beautifully nitpicked hints about the same character that he might be a good guy. And this became much and much more apparent in the latest chapter, how he talks to Durandal and Rita, and he says things like, oh, how no one understands me. You guys get it, right? So help me. This is exactly how he talks. I mean, at this point in the story, they are literally spoon feeding all the hints. Back then, they were all in the background. You had to dissect them. When HOV got revived, everything started back then. And even before that, the first thing I want to start talking about is when Himiko is captured. And the person who frees her from that cell is none other than Phoenix. And Phoenix was at that time on Otto's side, so the only person who knew about the god suit was Phoenix. And why would Otto tell that specific information to just Phoenix? Doesn't make sense, right? When you're creating a plan to revive a certain Herrscher, you will not tell the solution to that problem to anyone in the story. That leads me to believe Otto is actually a good guy. Because why would anyone, let's say if I'm a guy that is trying to destroy, let's say, humanity, right? Then why would I give them the solution to stop me? It doesn't make sense. Another clue was left behind when Tesla uses that serum. Not only do they have the god suit to defeat Herrscher of the Void, they also have the serum that can neutralize Honkai. So not only Otto created a god suit with Serenity Gem, he also created a serum that can destroy, not exactly destroy, but neutralize it to a form when the other person can use the Honkai power. We see the same thing happening with Kiana. And what if I tell you every single thing was planned from the very moment? Not the plan about reviving Herrscher of the Void, but the plan to destroy Herrscher of the Void so that a human, so that Kiana can use the powers of Herrscher of the Void. Don't believe me? Look back in the chronologicals of Teresa.
第六律者、死の律者には魂を置き換える力があるらしい。死の律者なら僕の欲しい答えを持っているはずだ。その答えで僕は本物の僕のカレンと再会できる。僕の500年来の祝願が叶う。だから答えが出るまで僕はゴッドを守る。ネゲントロピーのやつらに僕の体型の邪魔をさせはしない。そして答えが分かったらゴッドを殺すさ。
And there you have it in Otto's voice itself. He wanted to revive his love and gather information to how to revive his love. And after gathering the information, he started working on the time reversal thing to bring back Kallen. And he was also working on how to destroy these envoys of the gods, these Herrschers, and the will of Honkai as well. So he was also creating these clones, Kiana, for that exact reason. I believe this is exactly what he wanted from the very beginning. And we see him say he's waiting for his fruit of labor to ripe and bring all the gems together, all three gems together. And this is exactly what happens with HOF. How crazy is that? You think this is all coincidence that he's talking about all these things before even the story came out? No, I think this was exactly what his plans were. He wanted to give these powers to walkers, and even right now, this is all part of his plan to make himself look like a bad guy. And he also says the exact same thing to Teresa. Like, he says, like, you need bad and good. You need to learn the value of bad as well, improve the good. He is the necessary evil to push Valkyries further to do better and better. We see the same thing happening with the Herrscher of the Void when she first became Herrscher of the Void, and how she overcome it. And then we see the same thing, how she had to defeat the necessary evil and she became Herrscher of Flames, Scion, however you say that. I don't know if I can even call Otto evil anymore. I'm not so sure. You guys tell me. And I can honestly go on and on. I haven't even covered all my research that I've done on Otto, dissecting every single line he said, dissecting every single chapter, looking for every single quote and clue to cover to make this video satisfying to watch. And I hope I've done my part, because there is a lot of things that I want to talk about Otto, but I cannot because obviously you have already seen this video is about 15 minutes long and I haven't covered my last big theory yet. So if you guys want to see me talk more about how Otto thinks, because I think I have a grasp on how Otto is built, and he's somehow similar to Mobius. And if you guys want me to talk about those two, or maybe different videos on how no one understands Otto or how no one understands Mobius, let me know in the comments. This is huge for me. Okay, if you guys really want it, hit that like button and let me know down in the comments, because honestly even I don't want to get rid of my research. I want to keep producing more and more, so these research that I have done about these characters don't go to waste. From Otto's video we can dissect that he wanted to make contact with Herrscher of Death and Will of Honkai to get his answers on how the souls work basically, and if he can revive Kallen or not, and also kill the god. But let's forget about that part for now. But he definitely knows the answers now. That's why he's doing the things he's doing in the latest chapter. So when did he make the video? Because the time on the video is unidentified. When did he make the contact with Will of Honkai? Because he definitely did. And the most important question, how did he survive? Because from Otto himself, he said something along the lines with, you cannot have a talk with such a deity without them exploding or bombard your brain with information. So how did he survive? This video has to be created after Herrscher of the Void gets resurrected, because he says something like, the envoys of the gods, the Herschers, are already here. How he says, I've been dreaming about this for the past 500 years, and the same exact thing he says in the latest chapter. So there haven't been much time passed since he made the video and the thing he's doing in the latest chapter. So this means this video was created right after the Herrscher of Void gets resurrected and he gets his answers. He got his answers and now he's going along with it. Now what we don't know is how he made the contact with Will of Honkai. The first obvious answer is through Herrscher of the Void, and that will make sense because he was creating Herrscher of the Void for a very long time. He was preparing the vessel for Herrscher of the Void so he can guess the answers and then he can destroy it. That I can agree. The second one is the most I think the satisfying one. It's through Himeko. He resurrected the Herrscher of Flames, the real Herrscher of Flame, not the Flame Scion thing the Kiana is, the real Herrscher of Flame inside of Himeko, and he saved Himeko. And she's probably, if Otto is actually a good guy, he would save Himeko. And if let's say someone like Herrscher of Death resurrected inside of Himeko, not the Herrscher of Flames, in case the real Herrscher of Flame is actually Kiana for some reason, even though the name is all different. But let's say he wanted the Herrscher of Death, right? What if Himeko became the Herrscher of Death? He will get the answers from Himeko because now but the body is taken over by Herrscher of Death. So he's probably making the agreements with Herrscher. And Herrscher of Death and Otto probably are in some sort of agreement because Herrscher of Death just fought Herrscher of the Void. Himeko just fought Herrscher of the Void, and the body, Himeko, let's say, Herrscher of Death is, let's say, the body is about to die. So Otto comes in and helps Himeko, technically helps Herrscher of the Death, and now they are in some sort of agreement that Herrscher of Death will help him reach the Will of Honkai if Herrscher of the Void didn't help Otto in the first place. That's the most satisfying one for me, if I have to be honest here. Another one I think is, obviously the Herschers are the envoys of the god, the Will of Honkai. So what if he used Herrscher of the Void to get to the Will of Honkai to get his answers, and he got them? The only logical solution here is right after the Herrscher of the Void was born, he used Herrscher of the Void to get to the Will of Honkai. That explains it to me. And don't forget what he said after he will get his answers. He said he will kill the god, he will kill her. And look what he was doing behind the scenes. He was developing the god suit with the help of Gem of Haste, and also creating a Honkai neutralizing serum that will also help him kill that god. Not only kill that god, but actually let that god's power inside a human body, so a human can use the power of Herschers. And we have seen Otto being excited over the same line, and I quote, Otto said something along the lines, somewhere in the chapter, and I cannot find it ever again. He said, now finally we have a power of Herschers by our side. Why will he say that if he was not on humanity's side? And also, in the records, when Tesla and Himiko were going through the lab, they find the records when Otto was saying humanity's spear. Something along the lines with humanity's spear. Let me see. Humanity's spear of destiny is finally complete. Why would he say something along the lines with that? Because if he was an enemy to the humanity, he would never say humanity's spear of destiny is finally complete. That's obviously a lie if Otto was a villain, right? If Otto was a bad guy, he would never consider it humanity's spear. He will not even talk like that because we perceive him as a villain, right? He obviously cares about humanity, that's why he names it humanity's spear. What I believe, he made the contact as well. He explained it to Durandal that you need to take some precautions to make contact with such a deity or such a god because your mind cannot handle all the overload. So how did he overcome that? Obviously, the most obvious thing that comes to my mind is clones. He made clones and then he transferred his mind data to those clones. That's the thing that I think, because I have dissected every single thing I could from this story, and the most logical conclusion I can see, or maybe there are two logical conclusions. The first one is obviously he made clones of himself and he wired the data transfer from his clone to clone to survive the data overload from the will of Honkai, the god. So one theory is that. Another theory is that data archive helped him, or he created the data archive that stored all the data from 50,000 years ago. I think this makes it more interesting that Otto used the void archive or created the void archive. That's why it sounds like Otto, and it stored all the data from the Hersher will as precaution to store all the data and not get his brain overloaded, because it's all stored up in another entity that's not actually Otto, but it's kind of like Otto. That theory is kind of fun to me, so I don't know, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I've been thinking about this theory, working on this theory since HIV incident, and if I had talked about this back then, no one would have believed my speculations because I didn't have any much study base of the theory. There are a lot of things that can back me up to make it plausible, especially what happened in the story. If you have played the game, you know what he did to Kiana. I'm sure, man, they took some drastic measures. I have my reasons why he does things the way he does. The suit was only known by Phoenix, and she leads Himeko there, right? Otto let that information go on purpose. That is my theory. So one day after he revives HOE, Fuha will go and change sides because he knew how Fuhua feels and help the walkways. Why would he create a suit that can destroy Hersher of the Void unless that's what the point was from the very beginning? And he must have knew about how Kiana would be able to control Hersher of the Void. That's why he did it. Because Sirin says this to Kiana, you are my vessel and you are designed for me. And if Otto made it especially for Hersher of the Void, he definitely made it so the Valkyries now have the power of Hersher by their side. He does not care how the world looks at him if he meets his goals. He even said that to Rita and Randall, how no one understands him. We see it countless times in the latest chapter. We see it countless times how Otto says like, no one really understands me, so you two be by my side, and they agree with him. No one ever questions him whatever he says because they know he's right. Even Durandal is like, I know you are not in the wrong. Durandal confronts him, and I bet he's not going to kill Durandal, even though this looks hella obvious that it's gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Otto is not that kind of a guy. I have already understood many things about him because he was never lying about this. It's simple. No one understands Otto in this whole world except Durandal. More about her later. We see time to time again, even in the latest chapter, we saw how people care for Otto because Otto helps and support people who works for them, and not only them but their families too, and also helps them in person. I totally believe that. This has always been a test, just like it's a test right now for Teresa and other walkers like Kiana. It's always been a test for everyone. It's like Otto doesn't have a choice because he doesn't see a choice right now. It's been like this for like, I don't know, past 500 years. That's why he's doing the things he does in such a drastic manner. And that's why he's giving them a choice and indirectly telling them, I don't have it, but you all can show me that you all can do this and defeat me and create a choice. This is what he has been always doing. He doesn't care about how the world looks at him as long as he made his goal. At first, he revived Usher of the Void. He revived her so that a human can have the power of Usher of the Void. The same exact thing he did with Phoenix and Usher of Sentience. Now we have a Usher of Sentience that is technically on our side when we need her. I know that's gonna happen, and that card going to play out in the latest or the next chapter. We have Usher of the Reasons power. We have the Usher of Domination power. Technically we have it. We had the gem, and I think we're gonna get that power too. And I think the latest Valkyrie is going to be Usher of Binding or Usher of Flames. It's gonna be Himeko. It's just becoming more and more obvious. Even if it's not Himeko, Himeko's gonna come back. I bet it. So that's about it in this video. Next video, I want you to talk about Mobius, and I want you to talk about Durandal. And I think I'm creating a video with a year worth of knowledge, with a year worth of theory, and just plopping it together for you guys. And I think I could have made like 4 videos out of this, and I'm gonna do it later because I think I've been talking a lot and people gonna go crazy if they keep listening to me. So go crazy and leave a like button so I know you guys like it, and leave a comment please. Let me know what you guys think. What do you guys believe in? What are your theories? Do you believe him is gonna come back, or do you believe Otto is not a good guy? He's a bad guy. Let me know what you guys think. Please be reasonable with me. Don't try to end my career. It hasn't even started yet. By the way, how do you guys like my new intro? I worked on it for like 3 days. I know it's crazy. I don't know anything about video editing, but I spent time on it. I learned about it. I even observed how mihoyo makes trailer videos, so I copied a little bit of their experience. I saw how they zoom in and out, up and down, whatever, and I just copied it. And hopefully it looks good. Let me know about how you guys think about the new trailer I made for my intros, whatever you want to call it, trailer, intro, whatever this thing is. I spent way much time on it. And also this theories, some of these scripts I read, I made them like a year ago. It's crazy. I didn't want to get a backlash back then because people were not supporting any of my theories when I was talking about Himeko. They were just so emotionally upset. No one gave a damn about what I had to say about Himeko dying because no one wanted to listen to how Himeko dies. So yeah, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully we're gonna make more quality content in the future. Take care guys. Good night. And in case you guys didn't notice, I didn't talk about the timeline theory because it's really hard to cram everything together. You can already see the video is over 30 minutes, and I could have took some of the last part of the video and chopped it up into smaller sections, concise sections, but I generally don't have much time for this video at all. I need to work on other stuff too, so the new video is going to come out eventually, so let's see first how this video does, and then I'm gonna start. I already have the script and half of the video already done. I just cut the part out of this video so I can just release this one early, because it's been on the editing mobile software for like a month now, so there's already been another chapter out yet, so I need time for that. And till then, take care, bye bye, enjoy the outro, take care.